Welcome back to EtherLink AI Insights. I'm Alex, and today we're diving into a topic that's keeping a lot of enterprise leaders up at night: AI agent security and EU AI Act compliance as we head toward 2026. If you're building or deploying AI agents in Europe, especially here in the Netherlands, this one's for you.
Thanks, Alex. And it's worth saying up front, this isn't abstract regulatory theater. August 2026 is when the EU AI Act's high-risk provisions actually kick in, and that's coinciding with enterprises trying to scale AI agents from pilots into production. We're looking at a genuine governance inflection point.
Exactly. And the stakes are real. McKinsey's data shows 72% of enterprises already have generative AI in production, but only 28% have enterprise-grade governance frameworks. That's a massive gap, right?
It really is. And here's what's fascinating. Gartner is forecasting that by 2026, organizations with mature AI governance will outperform their peers by 25% in operational efficiency. So this isn't just about staying compliant, it's about competitive advantage. The companies that get governance right are going to move faster, not slower.
That's the counterintuitive part, isn't it? People assume compliance slows you down. But you're saying the opposite happens if you architect it right from day one?
Completely. And that's where deterministic guardrails come in. Instead of deploying an agent and crossing your fingers while monitoring systems try to catch problems after the fact, you're embedding compliance and security into the agent's decision-making architecture itself. The agent literally cannot take an action outside defined parameters without explicit human approval.
Walk me through that. What does that actually look like in practice? Say you're a Dutch financial services firm, processing payments through an AI agent. How do deterministic guardrails change how that agent operates?
Great example. Without guardrails, you might have an agent that's optimized to approve supplier payments rapidly. It learns patterns, gets faster, and suddenly you've got a situation where it's auto-approving transactions that should have been flagged. With deterministic guardrails, you define hard boundaries. Any payment above X amount requires human review. Any payment to a new vendor requires verification. Any transaction that deviates from historical patterns triggers an escalation. The agent can't override those rules.
So it's preventative, not detective. You're not trying to find the problem after deployment. You're designing the system so the problem can't happen in the first place.
Exactly. And that distinction matters enormously for the EU AI Act. The regulation is asking for transparency, auditability, and human control over high-risk decisions. Deterministic guardrails give you all three by design. You can audit the decision rules, you know exactly why the agent did or didn't take an action, and you maintain a clear human control layer.
Now we've got about 18 months until August 2026. Deloitte research shows 64% of European enterprises are planning to scale AI agents in business-critical processes within that time frame. For organizations in Den Haag and across the Netherlands, what's the immediate playbook? Where do they start?
Start with an audit of your current agents. If you've got pilots running, document how they make decisions, what data they're using, and where humans are or aren't in the loop. Then ask yourself, could a regulator understand why this agent took a particular action? If the answer is no, you've got architectural work to do before you scale.
And that's not a 3-week project, right? This is architecture-level thinking.
Right. You're potentially looking at redesigning how agents interact with your data systems, how decisions are logged and auditable, and where human control points sit. That takes time. But the enterprises that start now, in early 2025, can have matured governance frameworks in place well before the August 2026 enforcement date. The ones waiting until mid-2026, they're going to be in reactive mode.
You mentioned AI lead architecture earlier. That's a concept I want to dig into. In the context of compliance and governance, what does that actually mean?
AI-led architecture is about treating AI governance as a first-class architectural concern, not an afterthought bolted on at the end. It means your infrastructure architect, your security team, and your AI teams are designing systems together from day one, not having security review the AI agent after it's already built. You're thinking about auditability, control points, and compliance requirements as core design constraints, the same way you'd think about scalability or latency.
So instead of siloing teams, you're actually integrating them into the design process?
Precisely. And here's the thing. That integration also catches edge cases and risks earlier. When your security team is in the room while you're designing the agent's decision framework, you spot potential compliance gaps before they're baked into production.
Let's talk about the specific sectors where this matters most in the Netherlands. Healthcare, financial services, government, logistics. These are high-risk domains. Are the compliance requirements different across sectors, or is the EU AI Act framework universal?
The EU AI Act framework is universal, but the application varies by sector. Healthcare and financial services have additional sector-specific regulations on top of the AI Act. Think GDPR, PSD2, data protection directives. So you're not just complying with the AI Act, you're ensuring your agents comply with a layered regulatory environment. Government and logistics have their own complexities.
That's a really important distinction. You can't just check the EU AI Act compliant box and assume you're done.
No. And that's why the governance frameworks need to be flexible. You need a core compliance and security architecture that can adapt to different sectors, different data types, different risk profiles. That's actually another reason AI lead architecture matters. You're building for flexibility, not one-size-fits-all solutions.
For listeners who are heads of AI, CIOs, or compliance officers at enterprises in Den Haag or elsewhere in the EU, what's the one thing they should be doing this quarter that will move the needle toward 2026 readiness?
Start mapping your AI agents and their decision workflows. Get a clear picture of which agents are touching high-risk domains, payments, healthcare decisions, security incident routing, and which ones have explicit human approval steps built in. Then identify gaps. That assessment takes a few weeks, but gives you the clarity to prioritize your architectural work.
And I imagine that assessment also surfaces which agents might not need to be agents at all. Maybe they should stay rule-based systems or have tighter human oversight.
Absolutely. Not every use case needs autonomous decision-making. Sometimes you're better off with a high-confidence recommendation engine that always routes to human approval. The assessment helps you make that call based on risk, not just because autonomous agents sound cooler.
Last question. What's your honest take on whether enterprises can realistically get to 2026 ready governance by August?
For enterprises that start now? Yes. 18 months is real time, but it's doable if you move decisively. You need executive commitment, you need to integrate your teams, and you need to treat this as a strategic priority, not a compliance project. But the organizations that wait until 2026 to get serious, they're going to have problems.
Well, that's the reality check we needed. Sam, thanks for breaking this down. For our listeners who want to dig deeper into deterministic guardrails, governance frameworks, and what Den Haag enterprises specifically need to be doing, the full article is on etherlink.ai. You'll find detailed frameworks, real-world examples, and a practical roadmap for 2026 readiness. This is EtherLink AI Insights. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.